Yes, Broken Bar people, we're back for another video. This one isn't an adventure, this one's my OMNIA performance training block. It's been 16 weeks. We've been training for a bit of hypertrophy and strength and a marathon. We've got today, squat, bench, deadlift. Tomorrow is the marathon. Ginger shot inbound. We're going to go through the session, the squat, the bench, deadlift, and then the marathon, obviously. And I'm just going to give an overview of the whole training block, whilst in the background you can watch me put myself to my paces. So the training block from OMNIA Performance has been really good. It was probably the best £100 well spent on a program where there's been no requirement of input from a coach. So it was £100 for 16 weeks. Now, amongst those 16 weeks, I have been a student, and as obviously people who have followed this page from my Instagram and from that, you know, obviously I have bowel disease, so that's a difficult challenge in itself. I've been in uni, I've been studying 40 hours a week on placement. My first year, I've been working on top of that as well to get some money behind me. I've also been doing double sessions away from home, so I've been an hour and a half in some small apartment which isn't home, so I've been prepping my food and getting really organised with that. So the overall stress environmentally has been quite high, as well as the training stress has been high. So reverse engineering it, looking at double sessions a week, and a Monday, a Tuesday is quite hefty, and then it starts to ease off towards the end of the week. Cumulatively, I think I've completed around 80% of the training sessions. I think that's been adequate given the circumstances that I've been in, having this program, that I've only done 8% of the actual training required. I think, well, considering all of that, could I have done better? Yes. If I think my circumstances educationally, if I was home and I was working in the hospital, which is 5 minutes away, I probably would have had a more successful training block, but I've learned from it. I've obviously been quite resilient within the sessions, within the training block itself, which I'm very pleased with. And as a whole, the program has been exceptionally enjoyable, very hard during the first 8 weeks, and as you had that deload week into your sort of next sort of strength block taper into your peak, was a lot nicer on the body. Improvement wise, so looking at hypertrophy as a whole, I haven't seen massive differences in that. That's purely down to the fact that my nutrition for the first 8 to 9 weeks was very touch and go, based off the fact that I was away from home 4 or 5 days a week, travelling an hour and a half, 2 hours there and back, staying in an apartment I wasn't very familiar with, walking to a hospital I wasn't familiar with, and then training to get to a new gym, and learning my environment away from home and having this back and forth from university was actually quite tough. Then I had exams amongst that, so I was in a different part of Wales as well for those exams. Mainly down to the fact that it was financial. Everything's going up in terms of cost, so obviously not being able to work as much would mean that I was not having as much fuel money, not having as much food money, which is really important. So I had to budget my nutrition when I was up in Bronx, purely because I had to balance fuel money, life money, and then food money. So being in the surplus has been quite expensive, and people say, oh, it's easy, just bigger portions of pasta and eat big shakes and stuff in the morning. But if you haven't failed to remember that I have got bowel disease and I have to watch what I eat, so it's not as simple as just eating as much calories as possible. It's been trying to balance that and make sure that I'm fueling appropriately for these sessions, because they have been double sessions and they've been really hard to get some energy in from that. So I think that my problem has been the lack of consistency with nutrition, which hasn't then given me the opportunity to grow some tissue effectively and promote that hypertrophy into my strength phase. But I have noticed that when that block had finished, I'd laid down a really good foundation, and I had good tolerance to running, and I had a good tolerance to training. So it wasn't necessarily that I was seeing crazy gains from it, because nutritional standpoint, but from a physical standpoint, physiology, from the gym, I was definitely seeing better consistency with training, less soreness. Even on 8 sessions a week, I wasn't actually that sore towards the end of it, because I was getting good amounts of rest in, good amounts of sleep in, good amounts of stress management, an adequate amount of food that was there just to cover just teetering over the edge of enough food throughout this block. I think I had an estimated 1 rep max of 107 on the bench, 130 on the squat, and 150 on the deadlift. So 107, I'm not going to beat today, but I'll give it my all. I feel pretty good today. I had my injection 2 days ago, which is settled, and I actually feel quite sharp this morning. I'm going to get some food in, get some creatine in, get some this in, get some caffeine in, and then in the next 2 hours I'll be there smashing that out. Focus, there we go. Right, squat, bench, deadlift done. Went really well, really happy with the results of it. My all-time previous PR bench was 120. I can't remember when that was, it was quite a while ago. 115 today, which I'm really happy with. It moved quite well. Squat, I wanted 132. just to beat that by 2 kilos at 140, which I'm really happy with. Again, that moved really well. Now the deadlift, I tripled my 3 rep max doing sumo 4 months ago, and I decided I didn't like how sumo felt. Switched back to conventional and matched the estimated 1 rep max of my sumo with conventional. So in hindsight, if I had done my 3 rep max with conventional, I probably would have PR'd that as well. I'm not beating myself up over the fact I've had 150 in my deadlift, because my deadlift strength, my pulling strength off the floor have always been an area where I'm not overly fussed about, but as part of the big 3, you have to do it, and part of the program I had to do it, which I'm really happy with. So 115 bench, 140 squat, 150 deadlifts, 405 total. I weigh around 73 kilos. I don't know what the averages are at that weight. I don't know where I would sit if I were to compete in a competition, but with those maxes in mind, like, I held off on a few. My girlfriend, I'd say 2 kilos, 5 kilos max on each lift, because I have got a marathon tomorrow. So I thought risk of injury to reward factor to, for tomorrow, it's not worth it. So I'm happy with what I got. That's the squat, bench, deadlift done. Gym session done. Home, eat, sort my car out, recover, heat packs, ice packs, wherever I need just to feel good for tomorrow. Marathon time, and I'll catch you then tomorrow. Yes, Broken Barrel people, it's day 2 of the peak week. Arrived at the car park, so we're in Swansea Marina, and we're running from Swansea Marina to Mumbles Pier and back twice. So this is going to be my little checkpoint. I got a bit of food in the car, water and supplies, so I'm going to run up, run back, have a quick 2 minutes to sort of stretch the legs out and have some food, and then do it again. I think the hardest part of this run is going to be the fact that I'm on my own today. I've run this before with my brother, and I found that a lot easier because we chatted the whole way. We didn't even realise we'd run that far. We got back, before we knew it, we'd run for 2 hours, and we were like, wow, we've done it. Today, it's on my own, so it's going to be headphones in, bit of music, pacing myself. I feel okay from yesterday. My back is a little bit tight from the deadlift and the squat. My body feels not massively fatigued, but I could say that I obviously feel like I have trained yesterday, which is what was going to happen. So my legs feel fine though. My legs don't feel heavy at all, and they don't feel sore. So that's one positive from this. Key points today: stay calm, breathe, stick to the game plan of maintaining the pace throughout the entire thing. If I feel good and I can push towards the end to get my goal that I've set myself in the sort of background, I'll push it. If it gets to the point where I feel I only need to finish the race or finish the run, that's what I'll do, and I'll run it at a pace where I can actually just finish it. But yeah, the key points here are that I've managed to max out yesterday and have a 405 kilo total, which I'm really happy with. I PR'd my squat, bench and deadlift by 10 kilos. I went from sumo to conventional, so that's a big positive. Now it's marathon time, so I'll catch you at the end of the run. Wish me luck. We're back in the car. Now, unfortunately, I've done a half marathon. I got back to the car and I don't know, something didn't feel right. So my stomach started hurting around half an hour ago. My knees started hurting, and I just felt like the pan just wasn't hot. Like, the first 5 kilometers, as anything, a bit of a warm up and it felt fine. But everything after that, I was just, something just didn't feel right. And as time went on, it just got worse and worse. And I think mentally I was losing the battle. Physically I was okay. Then I just felt like after that it was just too hard, and my body just couldn't keep up with it. I think the risk to reward factor, it didn't justify it enough before I go away traveling tomorrow. So obviously I'm going away for 2 weeks and didn't want to risk a knee injury, getting ill, reducing my immune system. I had major CNS fatigue from yesterday as well from maxing out. This would just exacerbate things again. So if I continue to knock out this marathon with an injury risk, my stomach hurting, getting more and more tired, going travelling tomorrow, going to pack and things like that, I think accumulatively I would have caused myself more harm than good, and I wouldn't have been able to enjoy my trip nowhere near as much. So I put my ego aside. I think the younger me would have just dogged through it and probably caused more problems than not, just to prove to everybody that I can do it. I feel physically capable of doing it. The pace I ran felt okay. I wasn't out of breath. My heart rate was consistent throughout the whole thing, so I did average a very good heart rate throughout the whole thing. There was no peaks, there's no troughs. Very consistent. My legs felt fine. My knees didn't. My feet didn't. My body generally was quite tired. I feel given a day where I was solely running a marathon and that's all I was doing and that's all I trained for, I positively believe I could do it. Today, I guess you could argue I'm making excuses, but I think I'm just being real with myself and being honest with myself that it's not going to happen today and the risk isn't worth the reward at the moment. I'm happy I've done a half marathon. That's more than a lot of people can do. It's more than the majority of the population. So all I can say is I've done a half, a PR'd squat, bench, deadlift, and now it's off for a 2-week holiday. And then after that, I will start afresh and go from there. See what else Omnia performance can bring, or I'll just make my own program and go from there and see what I can do. But there we are. That's that. Squat, bench, deadlift, and a half marathon in that case. Proud of it. Proud of myself. Proved I could do it to myself, but a bit gutted I've come up a little bit short. It was just 2 more hours, but I think it wouldn't have been worth putting myself through it just before I go away. Anyway, until next time with that. And the next video will be the long trip. Take it easy.